ever just spend hours mourning the TV shows that might have been? The fourth book of Avatar: The Last Airbender that we never got. The Infinity Train movie that HBO Max cancelled so they could put all their time and effort into Velma. The less rushed ending Danny Phantom could have had if Nickelodeon had just given it one extra season. Cartoons get cancelled for a variety of reasons. The studio doesn't have the budget, the creators want to work on other things, not enough people are watching it, etc, etc. The one that might still hurt the most though is Teen Titans. Airing from 2003 to 2006 with 5 seasons on Cartoon Network, Teen Titans followed the lives of super teens Robin, Cyborg, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Raven, who used their unique abilities and honed skill sets to protect the citizens of Jump City and help each other through the trials of entering adulthood. It was a popular show that generally received good reviews, although apparently was somewhat divisive at the time between DC fans, some of them strongly disliking the anime-esque art style used, and was a show that helped DC cement their place as the forerunner in the superhero market until Iron Man would eventually come out in 2008. Originally, a 6th season of the show was also planned, where Starfire would be the main character, as in other seasons a different Titan had taken over that role. But it was unceremoniously cancelled when Cartoon Network informed the team behind the show that the 5th season would be their last. This really sucked, for several reasons. First and foremost, this was a really good show that I have fond childhood memories of. Heck, Beast Boy was one of my first ever fictional childhood crushes. That's formative memories right there. But this also sucked because of the way Cartoon Network has since muddied the waters and taken a pretty big dump on the legacy of Teen Titans with the, at times confounding, Teen Titans Go. Cartoon Network said, we're gonna bring back the exact same voice actors, the exact same characters, in the exact same setting, but we're gonna dumb it down by about 300%. And pretend like the plot and character development of the original show never even happened. And you wanna know what the worst part is? It worked. Kids freaking love this show. They've made 8 seasons, 2 movies, and they've had Fall Out Boy and LeBron James on as guest stars. Listen, I know what I'm saying may come across as overly harsh, and I promise this video isn't just gonna be me talking Teen Titans Go. That's not my style. And you may find yourself yelling at the screen, well, have you given this new version a fair go? I've watched a decent number of episodes of Teen Titan Go, hereafter referred to as TTG, just so I don't have to say the words Teen Titans a million times in this video. Maybe 30 or so in total. And I watched the TTG vs Teen Titans movie as research for this video. It's not an awful show. Some of the humor is very childish, but that's fine, that's who the target audience is. My problem is that I suspect kids like this show because they don't know what they're missing. For today, we have hot cross bun flavored tea. To all of you who celebrate Easter, happy Easter. I was 5 years old when the original Teen Titans finished its last season, so I probably didn't actually get to watch the show until I was around 7 or 9 and I was just watching reruns. I wasn't really allowed to watch Cartoon Network shows at all because my parents thought they would be too mature for me, but I managed to sneak my way around that one. But even at 7 years old, when watching this show, I thought, man, these characters are cool. I loved the original Teen Titans because it had action, it had drama, and it had comedy. A lot of people who talk about why TTG is worse like to reference its childish humor, but I think those people forget the original did have its elements of that as well.
Why does the entire world look like it belongs on my grandma's fridge?
Which, to be clear, I'm not saying is a bad thing. It's in the name. These characters are teens. Them doing these silly things, saying these silly jokes, is them acting their age. Also, and I feel like this is also very important to say, I'm not saying the original Teen Titans is a masterpiece or a modern classic. It also is not a perfect show by any means. My point in all this is, if Cartoon Network thought the original Teen Titans wasn't funny enough to appeal to kids of 2013, and so they had to make a reboot, they really didn't need to do that. The original was funny, and also cool, which the remake is not. The best example and worst offender of this is probably Robin. Both Robins are the team leader. Both Robins push the Titans to be the best heroes they can be, sometimes too far. And both Robins yell a lot. But the original has its cool moments as well.
You know, Robins, I have to admit, the mask makes me feel cool.
Huh, pizza. Sweet. You know, Robbins, the mask makes me feel cool too.
Plus, we come to understand through the narrative of Teen Titans that the reason he pushes everyone so far is the same reason he pushes himself so hard. In his mind, he is never good enough. He doesn't have any powers, unlike the rest of his team. And he has grown up as Batman's sidekick, always playing second fiddle. But now he's the leader, so he has to set an example, and so he always strives for personal perfection, sometimes to the point of obsession. This is the root of Robin's obsession with Slade, where he continuously fails to defeat the guy in either a battle of wits or a battle of strength, and begins to dedicate more and more of his time and energy towards defeating Slade with each ensuing failure. He also strives for control as a way of preventing a repeat of what happened to his parents, where he was powerless to stop their deaths.
Stop kicking yourself. Accidents happen.
Not to me, they don't.
But whenever he goes too far, the rest of the team is there to pull him back down to earth, as we see happen in the Season 1 finale, Apprentice, and in Season 3's episode, Haunted. Compare that to the utter caricature of Robin's character that you get in TTG. You never get the impression that he actually cares about any of the rest of the team, apart from Starfire, who he has a very clearly unreciprocated crush on, but still chases after anyway.
Starfires, will you marry me? Any of you?
No. 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 Door Park, no.
He's this weird, clout-obsessed, slightly creepy buzzkill who I'm pretty sure is only ever the butt of the joke, which is a disservice to not only the original series Robin, but to the character of Robin across all DC works. Just imagine the utter distaste Damian Wayne would have upon seeing how they've besmirched his mantle so. This caricature idea goes for all the other Titans in the reboot as well. Beast Boy is just a lazy clown, Raven is just a gloomy goth, Starfire's the clueless airhead, and Cyborg is the wild card? He's just the one who always does the wacky things for no reason in particular other than to be wacky. This was very much not the case in the original for any of them. On the surface level, sure, maybe, but the original always made it a point to peel back the facade and reveal the person underneath who was more complex. They all had several episodes focused on them and the way that they were struggling to come to terms with who they used to be and who they want to be in the future, which is a very accurate description of what it's like to be a teen. They even have several episodes that are direct analogies for certain parts of the teen experience. In the Season 2 episode, How Long Is Forever, Starfire inadvertently travels to the future and meets her teammates' older counterparts, and she struggles with the realization that the friends she has now may not always be her friends in the future. In the Season 4 episode Mother May I, the Titans are menaced by a witch who transforms herself into an overbearing motherly figure who brainwashes all of them into staying home with her and giving up their superheroing ambitions so that she can bake them into a pie and eat them. An odd plot, I know, but also a pretty good allegory for a child who is struggling with an overbearing parent who won't give them the independence that they crave. I will say, to TTG's credit, it is very self-aware of these criticisms, making several episodes and even an entire movie parodying the idea that the reboot is always inferior to the original. But their answer is just, we don't really care if you don't like the reboot, we're just going to do what we want to, if you don't like it, don't watch it, which is definitely a very mature response. Except for the time they implied that people who criticised the reboot were basement-dwelling bronies. That was maybe a bit petty.
You ruined my childhood!
And they are absolutely correct about if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's just, I think it'd be hard to argue that the original wasn't objectively a better show. It's hard not to feel bitter when Teen Titans got only 65 episodes and TTG has over 360. And because the original had storylines that spanned several seasons, while with the reboot each episode is pretty much a standalone, it can feel like it's lower effort content. Like Cartoon Network didn't want to bother writing out complex characters with actual character arcs. TTG always maintains the status quo. There's never any watershed moments where you feel like nothing will ever be the same again. In the original, this occurs several times, like when Terra betrays the Titans, or when Slade dies. Writing a comedy-centric show is still hard, don't get me wrong, but am I crazy, or does it sometimes feel like the Titans of TTG live in a Groundhog Day situation? No matter how many times Raven and Beast Boy flirt with each other, or even get together, you know it's all ultimately meaningless, as by the end of the episode they will either remain single or break up with each other, and end up right back where they started. A bit like Miraculous Ladybug. But that's a video for another time. There's all this build-up, but never any actually fulfilling payout. It also doesn't help that TTG loves to use gross-out humor. My personal least favorite type of humor. Which I also hated as a kid. I never thought it was funny. This isn't just like, oh, I'm an adult, I'm above this. No, it was never funny to me. I theorize that if Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers Studios had just done a direct remake of the original series rather than altering the flavor, it might have been more popular than TTG ever is/was, because of the strong storytelling that the original always showed. And man, I would have killed for one more season of that amazing show. Imagine actually getting to see Robin and Starfire be in a relationship and struggle to balance their personal and private lives. Imagine seeing Beast Boy move on from chasing after Terra in the aftermath of Things Change and seeing how that makes him grow as a person. Imagine getting another Jinx and Kid Flash focused episode. They were actually low-key my favorite ship of the show. But we'll never know. Just like all the other TV shows that never were, we can only speculate on what might have been. The story doesn't have a satisfying conclusion. But that's kind of the point. The final episode of the original Teen Titans series, the aforementioned Things Change, says it best. In an interview about that episode, Carey Payton, the voice actor for Cyborg in both versions of the show, had this to say. In Season 5, we found out that we were going to be ending with that season. That's what the powers that be said, and it was out of our hands. And so we thought to ourselves, what is a teenager's last lesson? This is Teen Titans. This is the end of the road. Kind of a graduation in a way. So what is the last thing that we all learn as teenagers? Sometimes, you just got to learn to move on. And that episode was literally about, you know what? This is the time where Beast Boy, the youngest of the Titans, has to learn what it means to grow up. And so yes, there are unanswered questions. But they are unanswered for a reason. Because the last thing you've got to learn is that life doesn't always work out the way you need it to. But that doesn't mean that life's a bad thing. That's just the way you learn sometimes. And so if we did do a Season 6, that lesson means nothing. Move on. There are other beautiful things to spend your time on. It's okay to watch Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is not the reason the old show is gone. And there is certainly wisdom in that. I can certainly say even in my very short life so far, not all things have had a satisfying conclusion. One thing I will say though, that is not the kind of depressing reality I want to see reflected in a place I go to escape from all that real life shit. To finish, let me do a quick speed run of the other changes they made in Teen Titans Go that annoyed me the most. Yes, this is petty, but let me have my petty spite. Beast Boy is no longer vegetarian. Jinx and Cyborg have this weird fling instead of her and Kid Flash getting together. Terra is just a straight up villain and has no arc of going from good to evil. Slade is not intimidating in the slightest. The layout of Titan's Tower changed. Yes, it was minor, but it still annoyed me. And finally, the villains are way less memorable. Give me back Mumbo Jumbo, you cowards. Oh, shit. I didn't realize there was still tea in there. Fuck. I've spilled tea all over myself. Oh no. It was bound to happen one day.